What's up guys, it's Eric from Rare Candy and welcome back to another deck in battle here on PTCGO, and today we're updating another deck with some new cards from Forbidden Light, and that is going to be Gardevoir GX, but specifically in the expanded format. We do have Virginia Regionals coming up this weekend at the time of filming, which is an expanded tournament, so it felt a little bit fitting to bring some more expanded content to the channel this week. So Gardevoir GX, definitely a card that's been pretty popular. You guys are probably familiar with it at this point, probably most notably for the success it has seen in standard format, but I do think this deck does have some potential in expanded as well. So let's dive into it and see how this deck might look in the new expanded format. So Gardevoir GX, of course, is our main attacker. If you guys are not familiar with it, it's a 230 HP Stage 2, has this ability Secret Spring. Once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a fairy energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, which is very nice because our attack Infinite Force does 30 times the amount of energy on both active Pokemon. So our Gardevoir can hit for large amounts of damage, and it powers itself up, which is pretty nice. And of course it also has that Twilight GX attack for just a single fairy energy. Shuffle 10 cards from your discard pile into your deck, so really nice at getting back a lot of critical resources like double colorless energies, computer search, max potion, etc., and also very good against those pesky Garbodor decks. So even though Gardevoir is our main attacker, we are still playing two copies of Gallade, which is debatably just as important in the expanded format, just due to the crazy success that Zoroark has seen in it. So Gallade is a Stage 2, much like Gardevoir, 150 HP, and it's only a one prize attacker, which is pretty nice. Has this ability, Premonition. Once during your turn before you attack, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put them back in any order. So just a nice little consistency booster, and we do run a Rangaroo in this list as well, so you can kind of combo the cards together and sometimes draw one of those cards from the top 5 cards of your deck with your Rangaroo. And also the attack, very crucial, is Sensitive Blade for a double colorless energy, 60 plus 70 more if you've played a supporter from your hand during this turn. So like I mentioned, Zoroark has been one of the most dominant Pokemon in Expanded since it's been printed, so being able to just easily answer a Zoroark GX for a DCE with a one prize attacker like this is huge. And even if your opponent is able to knock out your Gallade, well guess what, you just traded one prize for 2, and it's going to keep you ahead in the prize trade. So Gallade, another very critical part of the deck. And going on to the rest of the evolution line, is actually worth mentioning the specific Ralts and Kirlias that we're using. So we are playing the Psychic Ralts back from Plasma Storm, and we're playing this one for its attack Psybolt. So for a single colorless energy, flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. So the reason we're running this as opposed to maybe the one from Burning Shadows or Ancient Origins, just as an example, is because, you know, doing 10 damage for one energy is okay, but with a setup deck like this, especially in the expanded format, which is much more aggressive than standard, being able to buy yourself a turn with the paralysis, I think is going to be much more advantageous. Now, of course, there are certain situations where the 10 damage from the other Ralts that we have in play can be beneficial, but like I said, since we're a slower deck and the expanded format is very aggressive, we need to just buy ourselves a turn. I think we're going to get a lot more value out of that as opposed to doing, you know, maybe like 10 damage. And then we are also playing 2 of the Fairy type Kirlia, and the reason we're playing this one is because we are running the new supporter Diantha, which we'll mention shortly, and just running the Fairy type Kirlia will give us more outs to being able to make use of our Dianthas. And as I already mentioned, we are playing one copy of a Rangaroo for that Instruct ability. Once during your turn before you attack, you may draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. So this is nice. It kind of hedges against those late game ends to kind of ensure that we're never end to one and we don't have like an answer to that. And also it does combo pretty nicely with our Gallades as well. And honestly, if you guys want to run Octillery, I know that is a popular choice for Gardevoir variants. I think that is perfectly fine too. Honestly, the only reason I'm not running Octillery in this list is because I couldn't find space to fit that extra card needed to run the evolution line. But like I said, if you do want to run Octillery, that is perfectly fine as well. So going on to some of our tech Pokemon, the first of which is going to be Sudowoodo. For that Roadblock ability, your opponent can't have more than 4 bench Pokemon, and then if they do have more than that, they have to discard until they have 4. So a very, very critical card in the expanded format since Zoroark GX is so popular. They typically rely on things like Skyfield to fill their bench and hit for large amounts of damage, and Sudowoodo is going to limit their ability to do so, and even against other decks, Roadblock can be a little bit annoying as well. And then we're also playing one copy of Oricorio. So this is the one we're playing mainly for its supernatural dance attack. For each Pokemon in your opponent's discard pile, put 1 damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon in any way that you like. So this is going to be our Night March counter. I think Night March has actually had a little bit of hype coming into Virginia Regionals just because of the new tools that Buzzwole gains in the format, which makes Night March kind of a good play because Pumpkaboo can of course knock out Buzzwoles very easily, so I think the Oricorio is potentially worth playing at the time of filming. Also, Revelation Dance can actually be a half decent attack against certain decks, most notably Buzzwole. With a Choice Band, you're hitting for 120 for just a single energy, which can be nice, but like I said, mainly this is going to be our counter for Night March. Then we are playing 3 copies of Tapu Lele GX, of course, for that Wonder Tag ability, and we do have access to Energy Drive if we do need a backup attacker as well. And then the last Pokemon to go over is going to be Alolan Vulpix. Just for that beacon attack, search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So this is a nice starter Pokemon to lead the game with, to maybe grab our evolution pieces with, and things like that. Or if we don't have a supporter in hand, we can even grab like a Tapu Lele GX for the following turn as well. So that's the reason we're playing it. Icy Snow, not too relevant though. So going on to our trainer cards, let's go with our supporters first. We're playing 3 copies of N. It's going to be our primary form of draw power since we are a little bit of a slower deck to get going. Both players shuffle in, draw equal to the amount of prizes that they have remaining, so that we can punish our opponents for getting an early lead on us, since we typically, like I said, go down in prizes first. Also playing 1 copy of Professor Sycamore, discard your hand, draw 7. So we are an evolution-based deck. We have a lot of moving pieces like evolutions and rare candies and things like that. So we don't really want to play a huge count of Sycamore, but still the card is very good, and we have access to it with Versus Seeker as well, so it's definitely worth including in some capacity. Another powerful form of draw that we have in expanded format is going to be Colress. So you shuffle your hand into your deck and draw equal to the amount of bench Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. So if both players have a full bench of 5, excluding decks that play things like Skyfield, you can draw up to 10 cards, which is pretty crazy. And we are an evolution based deck and we need lots of Pokemon in play at a given point, so we definitely benefit from Colress as well. 2 copies of Bridget, of course, just to search out our basic Pokemon. You could opt to play one since you do have access to Versus Seeker and Expanded, but I do like the second copy just because it is very crucial that we hit that turn 1 Bridget. And then going on to some of the more interesting supporter cards that we have here, the first of which is going to be the new supporter card Diantha from Forbidden Light. You can only play this card if one of your fairy Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, but then put 2 cards from your discard pile back into your hand, which is pretty big because if your opponent knocks out a Gardevoir GX, just as an example, and you have another Ralts in play, well guess what, you can play Diantha, get a rare candy, and that Gardevoir that are probably already in the discard pile, get them back into your hand. Or also if you've played your ace spec already for the game, you can grab your computer search, get it back into your hand. You can get max potion, choice band, whatever it might be that you need to keep on going. So Diantha, a nice little form of recovery from the discard pile that isn't a supporter that we have access to with Versus Seeker and doesn't require Twilight GX to get back as well. So even though we are getting 2 cards out of the discard pile with Diantha, we are still playing 1 copy of Teammates as well. So Teammates, you can only play this card if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, but with this you get to search your deck for any 2 cards, put them into your hand. So between Diantha and Teammates, we have access to any 2 cards in our discard pile or deck at a given time, assuming one of our Pokemon gets knocked out, or a fairy Pokemon specifically in the case of Diantha. So very, very powerful forms of search with these 2 supporters that we have in this deck. And also we do play one other search card that is going to be Karina. It's kind of an interesting card in the list, but you search your deck for a fighting Pokemon and an item card, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So this is actually really nice against Zoroark variants because we can go with Karina, grab Gallade and Rare Candy, and immediately evolve into it and take a knockout on a Zoroark pretty quickly. Also, we do run Sudowoodo as well, so we can grab that. So just kind of helps us in the Zoroark matchup to keep streaming our Gallades, but can also be nice at different points. Sometimes this Karina can kind of function like a Skyla at certain times. Just being able to grab a rare candy to get your Gardevoir is nice, or just being able to grab your Max Potion, whatever it might be. Karina can also function, like I said, kind of similarly to Skyla in certain situations. So we're also still playing a couple of other supporters, most notably to switch out our opponent's Pokemon. One Guzma, of course, you guys are probably familiar with this, but then we're also playing one copy of Lysander as well, which we have access to in the expanded format. So we don't play any Floatstone in this list, so I like the 1-1 split of both of these supporters. Lysander, same thing as Guzma, but you don't have to switch. You only get to switch your opponent's active, which is nice. So like I said, we aren't playing Floatstone, so a lot of the times we don't have an ideal Pokemon to promote after using Guzma, so in these situations Lysander is a little bit better. For versus Seeker, just to reuse all these supporters we just mentioned, and a couple of other really standard things in this list: 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Rare Candy, 1 Super Rod, 2 Field Blower. You guys are probably plenty familiar with this one. We can get rid of those pesky parallel cities. Also, if we go against Garbiter decks, we can get rid of their tools. That way we can have access to our abilities. Pretty standard stuff here. 1 copy of Max Potion, heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. If you do, discard all energy from that Pokemon. So luckily we can accelerate energy with our Gardevoirs. Even if we discard it with Max Potion, we can just go, Secret Spring, a Fairy, Secret Spring, another one if we have a second Gardevoir, attach double colorless energy, etc. So there's a bunch of ways to recover from this Max Potion. And also, since we do play Diantha in this list and have Twilight GX, we do have ways to recycle this throughout the course of a game. And Computer Search is going to be our ace spec here. Discard 2 cards from your hand, but then search your deck for any single card, put it into your hand. So just a crazy consistency boosting card. It's like an Ultra Ball on steroids, which is why you're only allowed to have one of these in your deck. I do think there is some merit to playing Dowsing Machine, but I think since we are a kind of a slower deck that inherently has some consistency issues being a stage 2 deck, I like Computer Search just helping us get going in the early portions of the game if we do draw into it. And then to round out the trainer cards, we just have 2 copies of Choice Band to increase our damage output a little more. And then from there, 7 Fairy and 4 double colorless energy. So yeah guys, that's going to be the list for Gardevoir that we're going to try out. And also guys, this is kind of a special video. Zander from the channel is going to be joining me in the battle portion of the video, doing a best of 3 series against another big deck in the expanded format. And also, if you want to see the deck he is using and his perspective from the games that we play, I will have a link to his video from this series as well down below in the description. But anyways, let's head over to the battle portion of the video and we'll show you how Gardevoir looks in action. Alright guys, so we're just going to load up into game 1 here, and Zander is going to get to call the coin flip, which means we do lose, and that is definitely not fun because our opponent, Zander, is playing Buzzwole Lycanroc. This is the matchup that we're going to be testing out. So Buzzwole, I think, has some of the most hype going into Virginia Regionals just because of all the new cards that it gains from Forbidden Light. So we wanted to test out Gardevoir against it and see if it has what it takes to stand up to this archetype, because I think Gardevoir actually has decent matchups against a couple of other key decks in expanded, but Buzzwole historically in standard format has been a very tough matchup, and so we want to try this one out and see how this one goes. So here Zander is going to get down a Remoraid thanks to that Brooklet Hill and an Air Gel and Rockruff, and we actually have a half decent first turn ready to go here. So unfortunately we did start with Sudowoodo, which is kind of a pain, but we do have this Bridget, and luckily our Vulpix is in deck, which means that we can actually search that out and get set up that way. So here I'm just kind of debating what do we want to do, and here I think I'm just going to get the 2 Ralts and then Brookwood Hill for the Vulpix just to be cute. But the reason I didn't grab another Pokemon like that Oranguru is because I'm kind of worried about the Roadblock Sudowoodo coming down. We really need to get a Tapu Lele this turn. So here we can grab a Gardevoir and a Lele since we have rare candy ready to go, and we can use Lele to grab an actual supporter for the following turn. So like I said, the reason I didn't grab, let's say, the Oranguru as an example is because I was worried about that Roadblock Sudowoodo coming down on Zander's side of the field and limiting my bench spot to only 4, you know, reducing the chances of me being able to use this Tapu Lele on the following turn. So let's see what Zander is going to opt to do. Going to Ultra Ball, going for an Octillery here, so he would have had a way to actually get this Sudowoodo in play thanks to the Brookwood Hill anyway, so definitely glad I did not go for that play. But anyway, so here, definitely a pretty explosive little turn Zander is having here. He's going to bring up that Ralts with the Bloodthirsty Eyes Lycanroc. I just need to hope that this Ralts can, you know, tank a hit for a turn, because I have Rare Candy, Gardevoir ready to go, have the Curliet ready to go as well. But here our opponent has a Muscle Band, and our opponent hasn't even played Brookwood Hill yet, so like I said, Zander probably is going to be able to pull this off. So here he's going to go for the Diancie. All he needs now is a Fighting Energy, and he'll be able to take a knockout. Okay, so he has Professor Sycamore. There's no way he's going to whip the energy here. Okay, yes, so because of Diancie, Prism Star, and that Muscle Band, he is going to be able to take a knockout. Muscle Band does 20 more damage to your opponent's active and isn't limited to EXs or GXs like Choice Bands. So that is how he is going to be able to do 70 damage to take a knockout on this Ralts. And here he has 2 Max Elixirs on a Buzzwole, so I'm really not liking where I'm at. I was thinking, you know, if I can just be safe for one turn, I think I'm in a decent spot. So here, I guess we promote this Ralts. I mean, we could promote the Vulpix and keep trying to set up behind it, but I feel like I have to just go for it here. So let's see. Okay, so we do top deck of Fairy Energy. That's actually pretty good to get here as well. So going to Brookwood Hill, just taking a peek at what we have in the deck real quick. Okay, I do have Computer Surge, do have Diantha. Oh, I can't use it though. That's okay. We can actually grab Teammates. I think that's an option here as well. I basically really need to ensure that I can get down another Ralts this turn. That's going to be really important here. So yeah, we're going to Rare Candy into Gardevoir here. And so we're going to Secret Spray. We can get that energy on the active. And I guess we attach DCE as well, or I mean we could just leave it off and maybe in preparation of like a max potion for next turn or something like that. But here, unfortunately, since we have, man, this is actually a little bit rough. We really need to get down another Ralts this turn. It's going to be really big. What I might have to, well, we could knock out Octillery, but then we just get Absorption GX'd, and man, okay, so we were just not in the best of spots. That knockout was just so big from Zander, because now I think what I might have to do is Teammates for Super Rod and like an Ultra Ball or something like that, which would be terrible. I'm just trying to think, what else do we actually have here? It's actually a situation where I kind of wish we did play the Fairy Ralts to be able to use Diantha, but normally Diantha is not that great in the early game. This is just kind of one of those weird situations where it actually is. So yeah, unfortunately we're going to have to Teammates here. We can, like I said, grab Super Rod. We have to get that Ralts back into the deck. It's going to be really important to stream knockouts for the rest of the game, because our opponent, Zander, he actually can take a knockout on our Gardevoir next turn if he has like Strong Energy, like, well, actually he has Muscle Band, so he actually can't retreat this active. I was going to say he could get Flipstone, so we're actually probably safe for a turn, which is kind of nice here. So here I kind of like this. We're going to go for a Colress and a Super Rod. Like I said, I don't think we're actually in danger of being knocked out this next turn, just because of this Buzzwole having the Muscle Band. He can't get down the Floatstone, so I think we're actually in a decent spot. And if Zander does take a knockout, we do have Verse Seeker to be able to reuse Teammates next turn as well to grab that Ralts. So let's see, we're going to see a Guzma. Okay, that is definitely not what I want to see here. And so he is, I'm sure, going to take a knockout on this Lele thanks to Knuckle Impact. The one good thing going for us is that we actually can take a return knockout on this Buzzwole, but unfortunately, actually no, I think we'll be in a good spot. Because Zander won't be able to power up a Lycanroc if we do. So here, I guess we can Field Blower. I guess that's fine. We'll get rid of the Muscle Band and the Brookwood Hill. And here, I think we actually just go for a Teammates. It's kind of tempting to play Colress, draw a bunch of cards, but we really need to take a knockout. So we need either a Choice Band or Energy, and we need a second Ralts into play just because this Gardevoir has the potential to go down if Zander activates Beast Ring and things like that. So here we'll go for the Ralts and the Choice Band. And yeah, so now we can Infinite Force and take a knockout here. So we're going to do 210, knocking out this Buzzwole, like I said. Going to get a Max Potion, definitely a good card to get in this matchup. And another Ralts, also a pretty good prize to hit here. Alright, so Zander does have Beast Ring, kind of expected. We hadn't seen one yet at this point, so it's that new item from Forbidden Light. If your opponent has 3 or 4 prize cards remaining, get search your deck for 2 basic energies, attach them to one of your Ultra Beasts. So yeah, we're going to see the computer search come down. Pretty safe bet that we're going to see like a Choice Band or Muscle Band or something like that to ensure you can take a knockout, because Knuckle Impact is 160, plus 180, or not plus 180, but up to 180 with this Diancie, and now 210. Thanks to this Muscle Band. And Zander still hasn't even used his GX attack yet this turn, so that Dangerous Rogue from Lycanroc is actually pretty threatening here as well. So we're going to see a Knuckle Impact, and here I basically have to get Rare Candy Gardevoir. Can't afford to promote anything else at this point. Okay, so we get Ultra Ball. Could go for a Lele and go for Diantha. I think that's actually an option. But then if we do that, Zander is just like a Lycanroc and a energy attachment away from using Dangerous Rogue. So here we're definitely going to get rid of this Bridget. And maybe the Giurleo? It seems okay, because we definitely need to get our Gardevoir in play. So yeah, we definitely bench Lele. We're basically getting knocked out by Dangerous Rogue no matter what because of Diancie Prism Star being in play, so there's not really any danger to filling up our bench at this point. Or actually, we could go for an N. It's kind of tempting. Yeah, I think our opponent's hand is just way too big at this point. So let's see. And, well, actually, we still could get... Yeah, we could get a Rangaroo here and try to dig a little bit deeper. So here we'll get the Rangaroo. Unfortunately, I think we're still in a pretty terrible spot. Okay, so... yeah, we just lose. Yeah, we could have gone for like the... for example, the Rare Candy Gardevoir off of the... Diantha, but we didn't have any energy to actually attack with. Yeah, and like I said, our opponent's hand was just way too big last turn. We had to end there, I think. And here we're just going to see a Dangerous Rogue. So even though we did end Zander down to a lower hand size, he still got what he needed to take knockout. Like I said, I think we were kind of in a bad spot at that point in the game, either way. Had we had an energy in that hand last turn, I would have liked to have gone for the Diantha. But like I said, I think Zander probably still had enough outs to pulling out the win here. So Buzzwole taking a pretty convincing game one. Like I said, getting that turn one knockout on the Ralts was really big. I feel like if my Ralts would have survived that turn, my deck would have been in a much better spot because we were kind of forced into like a really weird teammates play to be able to recycle Ralts. And but hopefully this game will go a little bit smoother for us. Oh my god, this hand is terrible. So what do? We could put up Sudowoodo. Let's do the Ralts just because I'm kind of worried about Sudowoodo being stuck in the active spot. So if we were left with like a dead hand and... okay, we actually top deck Vulpix. That is definitely a nice card to get down. So here we just attach to Ralts and we Colress. Okay, this is not an ideal hand whatsoever. Luckily, we do have Rare Candy Gardevoir. We do have a Alolan Vulpix in play as well. Just debating, do we actually retreat here? But I think we leave the Ralts. because we actually really need to save this Vulpix. If Zander can't take a knockout, well, guess what? Our Ralts gets to survive, but he has Guzma, which is kind of annoying. But hey, our Ralts with the energy is going to be able to stay in play. Here we're going to see a Brooklet Hill. So I'd imagine we'll see a Rockruff. Yep, that seems like a good play from Zander here. And just a Jet Punch. So this is, yet again, pretty scary turn we have going on. And man, this is pretty bad, guys. Like, we have to get set up, but at the same time, we can't really be defensive because Buzzwole is just knocking on our door every turn, putting on pressure. So this is definitely... Oh, I think we can... Yeah, let's promote the Ralts because we can actually retreat if need be. Hey, and we top deck Tapu Lele, so that is a fantastic top deck. So here we can get rid of this Brooklet Hill, Rare Candy into our Gardevoir, and here we can play Tapu Lele. So what do we get here? We could go for a Teammates, but I think we just need a lot more than that to really get going this turn. So, because we're going to need another Ralts, ideally maybe get a Choice Band or some more energy to do more damage. We want to be able to two-shot this Buzzwole if possible. And okay, we actually have a really awesome next turn lined up. We have another Rare Candy Gardevoir, so we're definitely in a good spot here. Unfortunately, we do have to just hit for 60, which is not ideal, but nevertheless, kind of like the spot that we're going to be in here. So we're going to see a Fighting Energy come down on Lycanroc. Oh my god, that is annoying. And yes, so Zander is going to bring up this Ralts that we just benched, ruining our next turn yet again. And I think we just have... I think we have one Ralts left in deck here, and Zander gets the Octillery online as well, so you can definitely see the power of Buzzwole in this matchup. So Gardevoir not doing the best against Buzzwole and expanded either. The game is definitely not over yet. It's still pretty early, but Zander's just... He's getting too many, I think, just easy prizes without committing a whole lot of resources. You know, he's not having to burn max elixirs to get these prizes or B-strings. And so I think, man, him getting that Ralts here is really, really big, unfortunately. So we need, I think we need Max Potion, and, well, no, because we need to take a knockout here as well. This is so bad. We just have to Colress here. That's really our only play that we have to us. Karina really wouldn't be too great here. Oh, we do hit Max Potion, which actually is pretty nice. But at the same time, we can't get a knockout if we go for the Max Potion, which kind of nullifies even going for it. Man, if we had hit Choice Band, we actually would have been in a fantastic spot because we could have like Max Potioned all this damage off, then gone for like Secret Spring, DCE Choice Band, and I believe that would have been the knockout. And here, this is one of those situations where 190 hit points is really, really awkward to hit for. Had this been 180, we would have had a fantastic turn here, preventing ourselves from being, or well, I shouldn't say prevent, but decreasing our odds of being knocked out by a dangerous rogue the next turn. So here, like, this is just kind of an unfortunate situation. We're going to have to commit all of this energy to the active Gardevoir and just take a knockout here. Now, actually, maybe in hindsight, what we could have done is Max Potion and just two-shotted, or I guess three-shotted technically, this Buzzwole. But then had Zander had a Float Stone, he could have just retreated into the Lycanroc either way. So unfortunately, I think we did the right play. It just was not under ideal circumstances. So here we're definitely going to see a dangerous rogue, and here I'm kind of scared because then Zander's just one, knuckle impact away from knocking out this Lele for game. Okay, so we're going to see a Buzzwole coming down, and if Zander has B-strings, I would imagine that's kind of a game over because then he threatens like another Lycanroc. But here, okay, he does not have the B-strings, which is really nice. I don't think we can take a knockout this turn, but what do we do? We could potentially promote Lele and attack with it if we get double Colress energy. But, actually, I think we can potentially get the Rare Candy Gardevoir. Oh, well, if we top deck it, that's also really good as well. I won't say no to that. But what I was thinking is we have Super Odd to shuffle that stuff back in the deck. We have Colress to draw a bunch of cards, so I guess we go for the double Ralts and the Fairy. Or maybe just the extra fairy, because Zander is close to wrapping up this game anyways. If he just knocks out one single Gardevoir, he's going to be in a good spot. So I think I like the idea of just getting more energy back in the deck. So, man, this is another just really awkward turn where I feel like I just have to end. I would love to Colress here, but Zander's hand is just far too large at this point. And okay, we do hit a Rangaroo, which actually is a pretty good card to get off of this end. We have an energy with Secret Spring, and hopefully we can grab something decent with this Instruct for one here to just carry us into the next turn. Ugh, and a Curly. That is definitely not what I like to see. And I could Twilight here, maybe get back some of those resources. Let's see what we've used. Really just a bunch of supporters. Only one double colorless energy. I don't really think we can. Yeah, there's really not too much. Well, we could Twilight and maybe increase our chances of getting a supporter for next turn, but Buzzwole Lycanroc, it's just way too aggressive. We have to be able to keep attacking here. We're on the back foot. Xander's ahead on prizes as well. We have to keep putting on pressure of our own to stay in this game here. So let's see. Unfortunately, Zander does have Octillery on field, so he is going to be able to recover from this end pretty decently. This is definitely one of the strengths of being able to use Octillery as opposed to our Rangaroo, which we're playing here. So here we're going to see an Abyssal Hand. And so right now, what Claw Slash does 110 base damage, so 130, 150 with Diancie. If Zander gets Muscle Band Lycanroc, then we actually just lose because he can bring up this Lele and take a knockout on it. So what does he get here? Okay, so we're gonna see a Guzma. Oh, going for the Oranguru. This is actually. Oh, and he had the Muscle Band. Wait. Couldn't Zander have just won this turn? Oh, he didn't have a way to actually retreat. I see. But here we're just going to end yet again. Okay, in this hand, it is workable. It's not ideal. But, yeah, we definitely have to attach the double colorless energy. Being Secret Spring. And, yeah, we Secret Spring on the Gardevoir here. And we just Instruct for one. Bridget, definitely not a card I like to see. So here we're just going to retreat. And next turn we can Ultra Ball our hand away to draw some more cards with this Oranguru. So here we're going to put on some pressure, doing 60 to this Buzzwole. And here Zander has the Guzma, but now he doesn't have Muscle Band. If he gets the Muscle Band off the Abyssal Hand, he's going to be in a good spot. Oh, but also too, this is actually kind of scary for us because if Zander hits B-String, oh, he does not hit B-String, that's good, but now we're also in danger of being knocked out due to a Jet Punch. Sorry, the name of the attack was escaping me, but here, okay, we have not used our Max Potion yet, so if we can actually, what we can do, we can Ultra Ball for Lele and to grab a supporter, and then we can just try to dig and hit this Lele. That is going to be crucial here this turn. Okay, so we will Lele. And here's a situation where Acerola actually would be kind of nice in the deck as opposed to that. Oh. Okay. Well, unfortunately, none of these actually do us much good. Unfortunately, we can't take a knockout on Buzzwole, I think. Let's see here. Right now, we're hitting for 90. We'll literally be 10 damage short of taking a knockout on this Buzzwole. So, I think we just... Oh, actually, you know what? I think we misplayed here. Yep, I definitely think we misplayed here big time. Oh, well, we didn't hit what we needed either way. I was going to say, if we played the Guzma, if we hit Choice Band, we actually could have knocked out Buzzwole, eliminating our chances of being knocked out by Jet Punch, but we whiffed what we would have needed either way, Choice Band or the Max Potion, so unfortunately, we are going to lose this one, guys, so... Gonna draw the Fairy and Field Blower off of the prizes, and now Zander can just Jet Punch to victory. So yeah, I definitely think we misplayed a little bit there. I Like I said, most definitely think we should have just brought up the Buzzwole anyways. It would have eliminated another card out of our deck, but like I said, we whiffed what we would have needed no matter what to deal with Buzzwole or to heal the Lele, so wound up not mattering there. But yeah, guys, as you can see, Gardevoir GX, still in expanded format, even with all the tools it gains, has a really tricky time against Buzzwole. Nevertheless, I do think the deck is viable in the expanded format, so still a deck I think to keep your eye out for, especially if you're going to Virginia Regionals. And also, like I mentioned earlier, guys, if you want to see the deck that Zander was using in this video and his perspective from our series, I will have a link below to his video in the description. But as usual, feel free to like and subscribe, and if you can support this channel by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg, or by picking up something from our online store at rarecandytcg.com, it would mean a lot. But with that, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for the next one.